One, two, three in the place to be. It's your player partners once again from the bottom of the map.
From the bottom of the map.
It's your dog Israel.
I Hayes in the place to be.
And once again, before we jump on in, make sure if you rocking with your boys that you like, subscribe, share, comment, throw your 2 cents in, and we'll respond back to you. Oh, the line jumping.
About to say, well, you said
Portal,
respond, but the
you
phone
know,
ran.
the portal's still jumping right now. You gotta check the line about the portal. Today is National Signing Day. It's a big day for a lot of
Yeah,
schools. Big day for Miami right now. We are officially ranked number 7, which
that's
is
dope.
by all means, it's a great recruiting class. Um,
Nah. That's we raw. Top 10 back-to-back years. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, real talk, and I'm gonna always go hard on Mario, but I'm like, nah, this is what we got him for. We're gonna get recruits regardless. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, top 10 recruiting class.
Officially,
Despite
we
the seven
have
and five record.
what was that?
I said despite going 7-5. You feel me? Like, damn, you can't really beat that.
I just want to get into a couple of the official recruiting numbers, and then we could jump into it. We got officially got 1 5-star, 11 4 stars, and 14 3 stars. The schools that are ahead of us obviously is Georgia, of course. They're gonna get the lion's share. Bama's number 2. Ohio State's number 3. They signed Jeremiah Smith, number 1 player.
Okay.
Florida State is number 6.
Okay.
Texas is number 5. Oregon number 4. I know we jumping around. Florida has dropped a little bit, but Florida had a number 10 ranked class. So
Well,
that's
they would
good.
have been higher, but we keep snatching their players. You know what I'm saying? So I mean that which I got love for them boys too, but I appreciate them players though because we definitely got a linebacker that looked like a man.
Oh,
Okay.
also, one last thing. We did flip a 4 star linebacker, Darius Hayes, who was previously committed to Florida. He has committed to the U officially. So that's another big signing for us, 4 star recruit.
Okay. Okay. I feel like that's and altogether we got 2 players from them, right? I know we got like
A defensive lineman who flipped.
yeah,
Um, Artavius Jones,
okay.
who flipped
Okay.
from Florida, and then the linebacker who flipped also.
Linebacker was something stupid when I was looking at his immeasurables. I was like, this man is 6'4". You know what I'm saying? I looked at some of the stuff and I was like, okay, this man like a whole man out here. So, which that's what's up. I mean, you know, I feel like in a later video we'll dissect the class, but linebacker was one position need. You already know we had what's the name who traded out. You know what I'm saying? And then the linebackers behind them are still young. And I just know that that's something important. I know, we got, you know what I'm saying? I forget, I know Buddy's name, but I be butchering it, but Saint though. You know what I'm saying? And then the current linebacker we have now. So I know trying to get elite linebacker play is something, you know what I'm saying, another hole that they wanted, you know what I'm saying? So like I said, I look at the class and they really went after heavy O linemen, heavy D linemen, which is
Mhm.
trench warfare. So I ain't even much mad at that. Um, definitely got some more receivers in the fold. As I was telling you though, none of them are tall like Kobe, young, but that's just my only thing. Like, look, you got somebody who is like 6'5" out there. You know what I'm saying? Like, we win a jump ball every time. Like, you do want that. But if anything, I know Miami's gonna have quick, shifty receivers. So it's just a matter of, at the end of the day, um, I don't know. Even when I think about a team like Washington, bro, like these boys in the playoffs and they don't have a top 10 ranked class. Obviously, they'll have elite play at quarterback, which that's important. Which we just got the one quarterback that we signed, but that dude is good though on tape. As far as a recruit, he led his
Also,
school championship. So
Judd Anderson's only, and sometimes it don't really necessarily mean anything. But Judd Anderson's only a 3 star recruit, so it wasn't like he was a big name recruit. A big 5 star quarterback. So only a 3 star. But that all that doesn't mean everything.
I also think that the quarterback position is one where we've seen the most disparity. Like, I'm not going to sit up here and say you don't go after the 5 star, but You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you're 3, you're 4, you're 5. I feel like if a quarterback looks good, then you take them because you just don't know how things are going to pan out or why you have. Like, at the end of the day, we're going to see sooner or later. Is Archie Manning really a 5-star? You know what I'm saying? Tennessee should be starting their next quarterback, and I remember that kid because he almost came to Miami. Um, well, he considered us, but regardless, 5-star. So we'll see. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you saw that flip too. Nebraska just got their first 5-star quarterback from Georgia, but Georgia already had another 5-star. Well, I think Buddy's a 4-star next to him, but they saying a 4-star low key look better than him. We'll see.
So what do you think? Like I said, we definitely want to big up Mario on this.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
we give him
yeah.
flack in other areas, but having a top 10 recruiting class, a couple years in a row, that's something to be commended for. Because whether the talent pans out or you coach up the talent, you at least can say, hey, we're able to recruit the talent. We can get the talent here, and then
Straight
it's up to like the coaching staff and everything else to make that talent materialize into wins and championships and all that. Like you say, what you say, he can sell coke. That's what that's what he can
Yeah,
do.
yeah, that boy out there selling dope. He sells dope to the cartel. He's so good. He sell their dope back to him. So you know what I'm saying? And apparently, listen, we went 7-5, okay? And may or may not win this bowl game. You know what I'm saying? I think they got us -1 right now. But you gonna at least have the talent in there. We do want to say though, and I think it's great because it's the top 10, and I know a lot, but it's a lot of 3-stars. When you look, we were looking at that. We looked at the top 10. We was like, okay, cool. You know what I'm saying? Like we took a team like Oregon, where it's like, okay, they got like 20 recruits, but they got like 18 4-stars or something like that. Or you're looking at the majority of them are slightly leans 3-stars because we got what 11 4-stars and 1 5-star out of 26 recruits. So it's just like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, yeah. So that's 12, for or better. So that means you definitely got 14 3-stars. But if a lot of those kids are from Florida, anywhere in it, I just think once again we talking, you know what I'm saying? Like that's on. I'm confident with saying that's at least a half a star more, almost a full star for certain positions, and I'm fine with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm fine with that. So
What do you think about do you think the NIL and the transfer portal neutralizes big recruiting classes? Because I mean, if you look at it, like you said, Washington, I'm not sure, but I know they didn't have a top recruiting
and the
class
top
last
10,
year.
yeah.
You probably got some other teams. I know Ole Miss is getting hot in the transfer portal, but you have other teams that even in the top 25 didn't have major recruiting classes, but they're hitting the portal hard. So do you think the portal neutralizes getting a ton of 5-star recruits?
Not a ton. And we gotta look at it too, like with 5-stars, besides that one Texas team, you know what I'm saying? Teams like Alabama, UK, they're gonna get 3 or 4 and 5, but they're developing those talents. So you're not necessarily neutralizing them. This is what we're saying, right? You look at your Ole Miss that only had 2 losses, right? So here's a team that they beat everybody else except for the elite. So I think you can go to the transfer portal and plug those holes. I don't think that you can build a roster, but I also don't think you can do it until you do it, right? Like I think what Dion had to do, and he, gets a lot of flack, but it's like, look, at the end of the day, like you can't build a whole line, but you can get elite players and then get them to play around them. And I think that, Florida State, that's heavily portal. You know what I'm saying? Like they've had some, I think this might be their best recruiting class, right? Like pretty much top 5.
They're ranked number 6. They're just ahead of us.
Just ahead of us. Well, that's because I think they had a player or two leave. They had a player or two leave. You know what I'm saying? Because they were definitely top 5. But regardless, if you think about it, and and they need a quarterback now. But you give them a quarterback from the portal because they, you know what I'm saying? We know they need a quarterback. So I think everybody in America knows they need a quarterback, right? We go watch them play their bowl game, but it's going to be the same thing. You need a quarterback. So no, what the portal does is I think it evens it up for other teams because let's just say you develop talent. Right now, after this is all over, we get to the spring, we get to the next season, we're going to have the same things about Mario because at the end of the day, he hasn't developed as a coach. So if you have a coach that hasn't been developed or refuses to develop, now it's on your assistants, which by the way, just to play devil's advocate, Oregon had a great recruiting class. They
Mm,
had a recruiting class better than us. So their recruiting hasn't dropped off with Mario. Hasn't dropped off. We know Chip Kelly built that program. So
mm,
then it's like, okay, Chip Kelly took you here. So we're going to measure every other coach. And so far, it's like Danny Lanham in the second year only got 2 losses. Yeah, you didn't win the Pac-12, but and do we see who they got at quarterback? They got Dylan Gabriel, elite, right? Elite journeyman, and then they got a 5-star quarterback behind him. So I think that I mean, honestly, we went 7-5. So I look at it like, okay, off rip, we shouldn't have had that record. We have losses, and people can say what they want about Oregon, right? They had 2 forgivable losses by less than a touchdown each time, but they're developing that talent. So now what happens when you get elite talent and develop it? The
mm.
only thing about this is this, and Billy Napier is on that seat too, because he has a top 10 recruiting class, and he went 5-7, even worse than us. But I think, like you said, we got good brands. Obviously you can sell recruits on the future, and you can get a lot of players from Florida. We're going to have tremendously better classes than a lot of people, right? Even though I did see Oklahoma up there as well. But I just think now it's just about developing that talent. And if you get that talent to play anywhere where it needs to be, we still play in the ACC. So we really only talking about 2 losses. But this year coming up, now that you got this talent, now that you got that, anything outside of 2 losses, 3 losses is probably going to be unexcusable, because you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we may have a semi drop off at safety, but you hit the portal for safety. So no, the portal, you building the base in your recruiting class, you doing everything else in the portal. The only place, and we can't even say that we're like Florida State, because if Emory comes back in even decent, he's a quarterback that can get good as the season goes on, right? He's a quarterback that led you against a down Clemson. So I think that he had a great test. And then, we got some great running backs. So then I think about the stable of running backs. I think about the reinforcement of the O-line, the reinforcement of the D-line. I think one thing I can say about Manny is he's going to have the recruits, the foundational recruits that you need to build for a line. So I think, you know what I'm saying, with Tree, I just think you got everything that you need to compete at a high level. You got some gems. Did you get everything? Did you get what the upper echelon got? No, you didn't get those, and you got more 3-stars. But to go 7-5 and still get that, come on now.
So
Come
what
on.
do you think? What do you think the recruiting number, that ranking means? Does it mean more to like the fan base? Does it mean more to like future recruits? Like, because it seems like where you land on that recruiting ranking list. That's something that we use all the time. You had the number 6 class, you had the number 8 class, you had what is that? Is that something that the fan base cares about, and it don't really mean nothing to anybody else? Like, what does it really mean? Or is it just something to sell the fans on? Just be like, hey, we got the number 6
I think the whole ranking system, you feel me? Because if you're a coach and you're a fisher of men, you know what I'm saying, for lack of a better motherfucking term, you're a fisher of men, you going after the players that you want because you're following these camps, so you know they're good. So by default, following good players, right, is going to lead to them with high rankings. But I think that the machine of the media, the fans, the college football world, yeah, those rankings mean a little bit more to the fans and to ESPNs and to your 24/7s. I think it means more to them, and even the diehard or the casual fans, right? Because I'm starting to realize you got casuals, that come in at certain times, but you're gonna have a lot of casuals who will look at these things. But then I think when you're a diehard, you start to look at your team and be like, well, what did we get versus how do we turn this? And we also know that just because, which we see that with Jimbo, just because you get a great class, if you don't develop it, what does it really mean? Especially when we look at teams like Washington. Washington don't got no top 10 class. Washington ain't gonna get no top 10 class. But guess what? They just went undefeated, and they have a great coach who develops players. But he also, when I looked at his backstory, he came from other places. So I think obviously a good recruiting class is great, right? But realistically, I think somewhere as long as you're in the top 30 and you get talent and you can develop that talent, according to your conference, you're gonna be good, right? Because once again, did Ole Miss have a top 10 recruiting class this year? No, they don't got a top 10. No, they don't have a top 10. But they're able to compete in the SEC. And the only reason he's hitting the portal is because he realizes, like, okay, you know what? I beat everybody but the 2 elite schools. I beat everybody else, right? And Ole Miss is going to play Penn State, I believe, in the bowl game, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're
Let's,
playing Penn
let's double
State.
check that. Let's double check. But go ahead.
Yeah, let's double check that. I don't want nobody in my comments looking goddamn crazy. But if that's being stated, um,
Yeah,
when I think about it,
they play Penn State in the Peach
play
Bowl.
Penn State.
Hmm.
So to me, and I want, we're gonna make some arguments right now. I'm gonna take a couple of stands because the line only favors I think Ole Miss by a little bit. Like they're not looking at it. And I'm looking at it like, well, they play in the SEC, so they should match up on your line. On top of that, they like to score. Now I have seen them struggle here and there, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's the real reason why, a team like Ole Miss, perfect example. You're not top 20. You're gonna hit the portal now, so you can get elite talent, so you can beat the number 1 and the number 2 team. But he's building that shit out there with top 20 classes, just top 20, 20, 24, 25. So I think if anything, it's gonna put more of a scrutiny on Mario now. You get in the classes, it ain't.
That's what I kind of wanted to follow up with. Like now that you could say you could have multiple years of top 10 recruiting classes, does it make the expectations higher? Like,
It
all
has
right,
to.
now you have no excuse. You've had enough time in the program to kind of turn the program towards the direction that you wanted in with your coaching, your coaching philosophy, your whole strategy. Now you can say, I have the players that I want, and these are top 10 recruiting classes. So, like, would it be foolish for the fan base to be like, all right, you got everything at your disposal now? We should expect this team to win. If you don't win, then it's not on anything else besides you.
If you a diehard fan, then you always looking at Oregon and you using that as the measuring stick.
Mm.
He going them boys in the Oregon is getting the same type of recruits now, and no 5 stars, all 4 stars. Actually, getting slightly better recruits, right? Because they have a better recruiting class than us, and it's got more 4 stars. But coaching them up to play and development of players, we can say that Danny Lanning does that because Bo Nix. You feel me? Like, come on, bro, Bo Nix. We seen Bo Nix play. We done ran that point. So I think the expectation has to be there, and even the comparison, because I'm looking at it. Well, you was just at Oregon, right? And you had a future first rounder, and you did win the Pac-12 twice. So I guess the equivalent would be to win the ACC twice, which you're gonna have to beat Florida State to do that, and that's actually doable. You know what I'm saying? Hell, that being stated, though, yeah, I'm looking at it like you got everything that you want, and I'm personally looking at it like you didn't really do that at Oregon. So can you do it here? You know what I'm saying? So I think that whole thing about development, and I think looking at those arguments, I think the pressure needs to be in there because you're getting paid a ridiculous amount of money. You're getting you know what I'm saying? You're getting the recruits, and I just think one thing about Miami fans, and they've been on this for the last 20 years. Once they don't like something, they'll get on board with it, and it's like, nah, that's not what you're supposed to do. You don't have to hate, right? Because I don't think we're hating, but we like, nah, bro, we got to scrutinize this. All right, you do need a tall receiver again because you know what I'm saying. Kobe Young, he was probably a third of the production. You know what I'm saying? Having him on certain key plays was important. You know what I'm saying? Some other part of the offense is gonna have to get explosive. You know what I'm saying? Because it's gonna have ramifications for later players as well. So yeah, and honestly, I don't know what else they were trying to flip, but I feel like they're serious about getting another quarterback. So it's almost like, okay, if that's what you need, then get the goddamn quarterback. Get the quarterback, please. So, and Cam Ward, we already know he's taking his time, you know what I'm saying? And whoever else. So I think it's important. I think once you have that, for me, I'm really looking at my offensive coordinators and I'm saying, okay, do you want to just follow Mario or do you want to make a name for yourself like Red Lashley and so you can get ahead? You know what I'm saying? Because regardless, I make this argument, you make this argument, several other podcasts be like, how are you going to say this? And I'm like, bro, you go back to Oregon and you look at how vanilla things were. I'm like, that's Mario controlling the coordinator. See, that's the thing about a lot of people. They don't, and it's the casuals, and it's even the casual podcasters. Bro, look at the coaches. Where they coached that before, all you have to do is look at those habits and you'll be able to see up and down. You know what I'm saying? And then you'll see somebody like Lane that's actually wants to get better. Lane's been good everywhere, right? But he had that knock. He'll, lose the big game. But I also think that here's somebody who's acknowledging that. And that's all I need. I think Mario will get good when he acknowledges his development shortcomings and allow to trust more in his coordinators or even just learn. You know what I'm saying? And I think that starts too with knowing time management, knowing to play calls. Like that's just something you can't teach. And so my only fear is that as a coach, you got to want to get better because how are you going to develop players if you're not getting better? That's my question. I love these recruits. I love this program, but you're not getting better as a coach. How do you develop players and you're not getting better as a coach? I don't have an answer for that one. I don't have a better answer for that one.
Real quick, and like I said, we're gonna do a later video of a breakdown of some of these players, but let me give some of the notable names that we did sign. And some of y'all were looking forward to. Justin Scott was the Ohio State flip, our only
I like
five
that. I
star,
like that. I like that. You put that boy back there with Bane.
five
Ooh.
star from Chicago
Ooh.
defensive lineman.
Ooh.
Nakar, he had been a a
Yeah,
commit
yeah.
for a
I like
while.
that boy's take too. He's the one that's a little tall too. He's like 6'1" or 6'2". So you know
But
what I'm
no,
saying?
Nakar is a little bit shorter. Just Josiah Trader, JoJo Trader is 6'1".
Okay.
Um, that was Jeremiah Smith, running mate at
Okay.
Chaminade.
Okay.
We had Chance Robinson, another receiver from St. Thomas Aquinas.
Yeah.
Um, Elijah Lofton coming from Bishop Gorman. Y'all know the Bishop Gorman name because
If
of
you
Brett
throw two
Jordan.
ITEs, that one puzzled me a little bit though, because I'm like, yes, you got Brevin Jordan, but you got to throw to the TEs. You got to make plays for them, which that didn't make no sense. And I think rule number one, that's got to change.
Um, Markel Bell, four-star offensive lineman. Like you said, we're going to be shoring up that offensive line.
Okay.
Who else we got? That's a notable name. Jordan Lyle, St. Thomas Aquinas running back.
I got a good feeling about him. And this is totally, I ain't watching no tape, but obviously I'm gonna be confident in different running backs. From I'm just listening to what they say, what the media street say. Yo, I think I think he could be a game changer.
Ryan Mack, St. Thomas Aquinas safety. Dylan Day from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, another safety. Um,
Okay,
Derek
okay,
Class from Jacksonville, three-star offensive lineman. We got
okay.
another St. Thomas Aquinas, Romanus Frederick, um, St. Thomas Aquinas cornerback as a three-star. Isaiah Thomas from Clearwater, safety, a three-star. Judd Anderson, this is a name you probably gonna want to pay
Yeah, I like
attention
him.
to.
I like him.
Judd
I
Anderson,
haven't seen them throw though. I will say I haven't seen them throw, but I like him out there in Georgia from what I hear. So
6'6", 210.
come on.
They say he can spin it.
And I'm like, and he can see the field. So I'm like, yeah, bro, you get in the weight development class, and he's like one of them people that's just strongly committed. Like, nah, I'm good. I'm going here.
And we got a couple other names, a couple other offensive linemen that we got in, a couple other running backs, defensive. So we'll jump into it. But I think some of the areas that we needed to address, offensive linemen, we did get offensive lineman transfer, a center in from Indiana.
Yeah, I saw
Um, because we're going to be losing two offensive linemen. So I think we're going to be shoring up that position. Defensive linemen, same thing. Um, so I think we kind of addressed a lot of our situations. Quarterback always is going to be the thing that we're going to be paying attention to most because it's just the most uncertain position. We don't know what's going to happen, especially if we're still chasing Cam Ward or we're still chasing other quarterbacks in the portal. So not necessarily knowing what's going on, or if Judd Anderson want to come in and say bump all that. I'm just going to take over.
yeah,
We'll see. We'll see when it comes to that. But I will say, you do see a lot of Florida, a lot of St. Thomas Aquinas, a lot of Chaminade. So, players who have been playing, elite high school football. I would like to see a lot more of Central, Norland, a lot of the, teams from Miami, the schools in Miami that have been winning, a lot of more players from those schools.
yeah,
But I said we have gotten a lot of Florida talent, so that's the thing that we wanted. We wanted to make sure them boys have been playing against other elite talent, and other top notch talent. So when they get to this level, playing against top notch talent is not going to be a thing, and they're going to be able to transfer the talent from high school to the college level. And like I said, I think this is the thing that we both agree on with Mario. Like this is his strong suit. However, saying he's able to sell it with his team, he does it. And to be able to, get another top 10 recruiting class, that's a big thing. Now we need to see it, translate. We need to see it turn. So you got the
If it
horses.
doesn't, We know what's gonna happen though. The cool part is if you don't develop and you don't win, them same kids finna hit this portal.
They finna hit the portal, and I guess that's the pressure. I think it's a good pressure in a way because it's saying like,
Yeah.
yo, we ain't got time to be playing
Listen,
around. Like
all
we
he got
really
to
need
do
to
is
win.
go 9-3. He can go 9-3 and 10-2, and you good. But 7-5, when you really could have went, you could have went 9-3 this year and 10-2. The shit's unacceptable. Come
Yeah,
on,
7-5 is not gonna cut it. Showing up in a bowl game and not winning or not looking good is not gonna cut it.
we're not gonna cut it
Um,
either.
but like I said, I can't. I had to give him props when his props are due, and right now I give him props. He got
Give
the
him his
players.
boy.
He got the players. He got the when you look at the ranking, when you want to sell it to the fans, and you want to put it in the flyers and the brochures for next year. We can say we got this. We got
And the flipping, and just to know that some of those recruits were
flip.
like in the last 2 months, the last 2 weeks, the last 2 days. You go to Ohio State and Florida. Florida, I can maybe see, but Ohio, bro, I ain't gonna know Ohio fan, but I'm like, bro, they out there mutting their recruiting class, and they still had a top recruiting class. So I'm like, damn, that's
Um,
crazy. That's crazy.
But yeah, so yeah, y'all go ahead and jump in the comments, man. Let us know what y'all think about this recruiting class. Think about the job that you feel like Mario has done with the recruiting class that we got. Do you think that he addressed all the issues that we needed? If there's other issues you think we needed to have addressed, that we need to hit the portal and find other players. Just hit the comments and let us know. We'll definitely holler back at you and see what you're talking about. But you know, like we always say, go ahead and like, subscribe, share, and continue to rock with us as we building this podcast. Keep giving you this real spill. But till next time, it's your player partners from the bottom of the map.
On the bottom of the map,
We gone.
we gone.